Andariki Namaskaramlu. Today is another good day that we are going to have a webinar from our speaker, Malladi Srinivasa Sastry garu. We'll start the session with Pradhana, and then I'll introduce the speaker to all of you. Can you please do Pradhana, please?
Yes. Jhanam. 1 minute, Jhanam first. Vivaram Omkaram. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatihum Avamahe Kavim Kavinaupavasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanan Brahmanaspada Anasranvannota Veseda Sadhanam Om Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Virvajinivati Dinama Vitriyavatu Om Maha Saraswatye Namaha Harihi Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrichorma Amrutangamaya Om Shanti 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 Matrudevo Bhava Pitrudevo Bhava Acharya Devo Bhava Atidhi Devo Bhava Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Harihi Om Sarvebhyah Swagatam Vyaharami Adya Karyakrama Arambham Kurmah. Astu.
Dhanyavadamulanడి. Now I'll introduce the speaker to all of you. Though you all know him very well, but for the sake of those who have joined newly, I'll briefly introduce the speaker. Dr. Malladi Srinivasa Sastry garu is a practicing psychiatrist with work experience in UK, Singapore, and India. Dr. Malladi has been a Karyakarta of Samskrita Bharati, which is an organization that teaches Sanskrit. He conducts spoken Sanskrit workshops and also teaches the 4-level exam orientation course of Samskrita Bharati. Dr. Malladi is the founder Soham Vidya, which is a platform to impart spiritual knowledge for holistic wellness. He has been researching on the application of ancient spiritual knowledge in daily life and designed courses such as Discover Yourself, Discover Your Inner Potential. He had conducted several webinars on Bring Out the Best in You, the Sanatana Dharma Way, and the range of topics connected with that. He has MA in Sanskritam from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam, and had completed the certificate and gold medal level of the year-long course on memorization and pronunciation of Bhagavad Gita slokas conducted by Sri Dattapitham of Mysore. He is well known to all of us, and it is in fact, the privilege and pleasure to introduce him to all of you. Now let us request him to start the webinar, please. Sastry garu.
Right. Thank you so much. Namaste to everyone. I'm glad to be back here again. We had a session last week titled Can Sanatana Dharma Be Truly Global? And I would say that perhaps this is, in a way, a continuation of where we left. Last week, it was in an interactive style. And today, I don't want to do it that way because I know that perhaps not everybody who attended last week is here, but in order to break the monotony, rather than do it the same way, because it was interesting, it was a little painful as well, because the interaction wasn't very free-flowing, and it needed a lot of coming out of the comfort zones to be challenged and also to think out of the box. And a lot of difficult questions have been posed by me. And I think the bottom line was that I felt we need to really kind of bring back the ability to debate in public spaces, because it's not a good idea to shy away from debating. And if we are truly representatives of somebody like Sri Adi Shankaracharya, we need to learn to debate, especially voice out when we don't like something, or agree when we like something. I think one direction or the other, we need to really open up in public discourse. So as I said, that went that way last week, and today it will be more like a PowerPoint presentation. Perhaps I'll be happy if anybody has questions or comments or anything. We'll spare time towards the end. And if it is quite urgent and can't wait till the end, please use the hand raise symbol so that I can stop, and then we can have a discussion. All right, so today's topic is social responsibility of a global Hindu. And last week, as I said, we looked at whether we could name the countries where Hindus have been living for a few generations at least. And we could name a few, and that includes India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, basically most of the South Asian kind of subcontinent, and of course the diaspora wherever Indians have migrated. So which basically means it's almost like Hindus equates Indians. Nevertheless, one exception would be Indonesia, where Bali still has a majority Hindu population, although the rest of that area had embraced Islam. So that is perhaps one exception. Otherwise, it is all from Indian ethnic origin. So when we looked at the ethnicity when compared to other religions of the world, so we looked at whether ethnicity actually kind of, just like how Indians equate Hindus, does Caucasian equate Christian, and does Arabs equate Islam? That's not the case, because Christianity is very well spread beyond only one particular ethnic background. And it could include Caucasians, or it could include Blacks, it could include Asians, and the various American kind of ethnic backgrounds as well. So it's truly globally spread. And what about Islam? If we look at Islam as well, it is in a way definitely more than one ethnic representation. It is represented by people from Asian background, as well as Blacks, Arabs, and definitely the Far East as well. So if we look at it that way, when Sanatana Dharma is supposed to be Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is a tall claim that we make. In terms of a concept, it is which we all believe in, but in practice, that is not the case. I don't think we can call it Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam. We can only say Bharata Eva Kutumbakam. We only represent in India as a geographical entity or an ethnic entity, and therefore it is not a global representation and cannot be claimed to be a global religion in terms of its spread or representation. So there is that issue there. So why is there such a selectivity? There is a selectivity when it comes to who represents Hindus. So is it because inherently there is lack of inclusivity? So that is definitely, if I'm to be a researcher or an academician and look at the reasons, I would definitely be looking at whether there is lack of inclusivity, as in the path that we are actually kind of following does not have space for inclusion of others from other backgrounds. Or is there a lack of will to propagate? That's the second reason that we can think of. Or the third is rejection by people of other ethnic backgrounds. So they may either find it very difficult to follow or very complex to understand, or that there are kind of, it basically is not to their liking. So are there reasons like that, for instance? Or is it simply because it is being selectively practiced by descendants like us because we are conditioned to do so, just because our ancestors handed it over to us? So because the ancestors handed it over to us, we're just practicing as we are conditioned to do so. In this situation, when we are conditioned, we may not necessarily understand the concepts, but we mechanically just follow what has been handed over to us. And I would bet that majority of the Hindus do fall into this category because they may not have an understanding of concepts of what they are actually practicing, and they are just following because they have been told to do so or it's been handed over to them. So by and large, I think these are all very, I would believe that they are all very relevant and pertinent questions that we need to really address if Sanatana Dharma is supposedly global. So if Sanatana Dharma is meant to be universal, why is it not practiced globally? So when an ideology, any ideology for that matter, what should an ideology have in it that can be embraced by all? So it should be self-enlightening, it should be all loving. If it is not loving and if it is fearful, nobody is going to entertain it. It has to be simple to understand, and it has to be simple to practice, and it should be open to inquiry. At least in this age, it should be open to inquiry. So this is how an ideology for a newcomer should look like before they can actually embrace it. And so therefore, we need to look at the question, does Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma have in it the intrinsic design for the world to embrace it? Or in other words, is Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma truly capable of being globally embraced? I would say that the answer is yes, but I have to really kind of impress upon, I need to keep, if I was to really impress upon every Hindu to understand this, I should dedicate the rest of my life to do these sessions on a daily basis, reach out, go to all the villages, all the cities, perhaps travel between countries, and basically become a full-time pracharak. If I'm able to do that, then I think we can make some kind of way forward. So Sanatana Dharma is universal in its spread. It does not expect its followers to be confined to a particular region, country, or continent, culture, language, or ethnicity. So you can practice it in any corner of this globe. That is in principle, not in practice. Okay, so we will now shift the gears a little bit We'll just look at the Indian diaspora, because Hindus, as I said, equate Indians. So we'll look at Hindu diaspora or Indian diaspora. Most of them living abroad. The topic is obviously social responsibility of a global Hindu. So who is a global Hindu? Global Hindu is naturally one who has spread himself out any part of the world. So majority of the people who live abroad globally, whether they live in Singapore or the US or the UK or Australia, most of them have come from, they have recent roots in India. So 99%, I would say. That is not a figure I have picked up from somewhere. I'm guessing that would be the figure. That 99% of Hindus in developed nations have recent roots in India, while the rest would have been born and had few generations at least in Caribbean islands, Papua New Guinea, African nations, Singapore, Malaysia, and so on. Okay, so these are the two groups of people we can think about. Now, a lot who have immigrated or migrated have a longing to return back to Bharat one day and resettle. At least from my experience, a lot of people keep saying that. But in practice, again, only a few ever return. So the questions then are, do all have to return back? Is it okay for a Hindu to stay back in the new country? What will happen? They may be asking a question to themselves, what will happen to my children if I stay back here? Maybe they'll just assimilate and get absorbed into the host country and are no more aligned to Indianness or Hinduism as such. There's a big possibility there. And how can I serve my Matrubhumi and my Dharma if I continue to live there? So these are the questions that a person, a global Hindu, may be asking themselves. A Hindu who lives away from India should first make up his or her mind whether they wish to make home in the new country that they are currently residing in, or if he or she has a concrete plan to return back to India. I myself have been, I would say I'm a global Hindu. I do live partly in India and I live partly in the UK, or I have lived in Singapore and so on. So I do understand the usual kind of psychology of a global Hindu as such. I believe so, at least. So it is important we exercise clarity and honesty in how we arrive at the decision whether we want to stay back in the host country that we have now made it as home, or we want to really kind of fulfill the longing to return back to India. One way or the other, we need to make up our mind. We can't just be in, as one of my NRI friends would say, we are in perpetual Trishanku Swarga. We are neither here, neither there. So it's not a good idea to be in that situation. It's really unsatisfactory. So once that decision is made, once we do that, then we are in a better position. Let's say, for instance, those who reside in the host country and are never returning back to India again. So we make it home wherever we are residing, and we develop loyalty towards the country we reside in. And we have to develop love for the society and start getting involved. Now, there is a reason why it may seem like digression, but remember the title is social responsibility. So we have to develop love for the society and start getting involved. Unfortunately, a lot of immigrant population, immigrant Hindus actually may not assimilate well in the host country. They just seclude themselves. They live in their own kind of cocoon, and there may be a lot of cultural kind of issue in terms of disliking what host country represents, and they then at the end of the day see their own children having to kind of go through the tussle of I think the children are a lot more likely to bear the brunt than the first generation migrants. The children are likely to kind of have a difficult situation, having to please the parents to be true to their culture. On the other hand, having difficulty kind of wanting to assimilate into the host culture. So that is from a cultural point of view. Now let's extend it to Sanatana Dharma or spiritual alignment or religious alignment. There as well, I would say that a lot of people have very difficult situations where the host educational system may not necessarily be aligned to the spiritual or the religious affiliation of the Hindu community or the Hindu family that has migrated. Frankly speaking, the situation is no different in India. Here as well, once the child leaves the family home and goes to an educational institute in India, just forget that they have any knowledge that is being imparted to them that may be aligned to the larger understanding or concepts of Sanatana Dharma. First, for instance, now I'm rereading the book India, that is Bharat, and we know the topic on coloniality and how the native cultures across the world have always lived in touch and within as part of nature, and that is Sanatana Dharma. And our current education system doesn't really impart any of those values whatsoever. There is absolutely zero understanding of the whole idea of me being the Atman and me seeing everything in me, and everything that I see myself in them. And that samadrishti, for instance, all these concepts of Sanatana Dharma, you hardly see that being taught even in India. So frankly speaking, those living abroad, the global Hindus, are not really missing much, apart from perhaps the movies in their native languages and maybe the roadside cuisine that may be quite enticing for their taste buds. Beyond that, I don't think there is much of difference in terms of, yeah, just don't need to feel guilty that you're missing much by staying away from India. So that should hopefully give you solace in what I say, for you to stay back where you are and adapt the host country. But what is the catch? The catch is that you need to be happy within yourself. You need to be content. Because if Sanatana Dharma is truly global, if Sanatana Dharma is the representative of Vasudha Eva Kutumbakam, you should be comfortable wherever you are and make it a family. All right. How do we do that? We need to learn how do we do that, how we do that. So if the country has been inviting towards you to begin with, then one doesn't need a special invitation to start expressing their love for the people, the land, the culture, and its principles. I'm talking about the host country. So let's not stay cocooned. I think we need to go out and be part of embrace where we are. Now, does embracing means losing your kind of core sense? Your core is your Atma, and that is what it is. Beyond that, everything else is a coating. So the core is, as long as you understand your own core, I don't think you will lose yourself wherever you are. So it's perfectly okay not to agree, however, with everything that is going on. You can express your displeasure, that is perfectly fine. And it's not that you have to pretend to be liking things. In fact, that goes along with what I said earlier about my last week's experience, where we are very shy of voicing out or articulating ourselves in the right way. On one side, it's pointless being politically correct just for the sake of it. On the other hand, it is not good to be abrasive and making rash remarks. It's an art to learn how to communicate and how to debate as well. So acceptance comes from the right understanding. So Sanatana Dharma is universal. And Sanatana Dharma can be practiced from any corner of the globe. it can be practiced by anyone across the globe as well. This is where we are doing extremely badly. As I said, if 99% of Hindus come from an Indian background, it is not global. But Sanatana Dharma as such can be practiced by anyone across the world. It is a responsibility. If we believe that Sanatana Dharma offers a lot for the betterment of the world, especially how we take care of the environment, how we actually allow Dharma to impress upon our family lives, impress upon how societies are built, then there is a lot of work to be done. So everyone feels that they are part of this dharmic fold. So our responsibility towards the society we live in is an inherent component of Sanatana Dharma. It is not different as such. How we'll see later. We'll look at certain myths for the time being. Myth number one, Hindus can't spread Sanatana Dharma. A lot of people nicely say this just to escape the responsibility. The fact is that Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam clearly give indications that it can be spread. Okay. Ya imam paramam guhyam mad bhaktesh abhidasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mame vaishyati asamshayaha, says Bhagavad Gita in 18th adhyaya. Whoever propagates this knowledge of mine, ya imam paramam guhyam mat bhakteshu abhidasyati, among my bhaktas, magameva aishyati asamshayaha, he will definitely reach me. So there is a goal to make sure that the knowledge is instilled or infused into the bhaktas' hearts. And what do you gain out of it? You actually gain moksha through it, right? So you don't lose out. And that is as much as a sanction for you to spread the word. Myth number two, need to practice elaborate rituals to practice Sanatana Dharma. We discussed it last time. Unfortunately, the ritualistic practice of Hinduism hijacks the whole idea of Sanatana Dharma. If that is the case, what do we do with Jnana Yogis and Karma Yogis and so on? Are they not practicing Sanatana Dharma? So Sanatana Dharma is larger than just the ritualistic practice, is only part of it or partly representative of the entire fold of Sanatana Dharma. Myth number three, people embracing Hinduism need to pick a caste. So let's say somebody new picks up Hinduism. I would say this is all silly stuff just to kind of throw mud at you, and you shouldn't get stuck into those discussions. Sanatana Dharma is nothing but Atma Vidya. So it is actually you understanding that you are the Atman. And if you do that, keep it there. And then what does Bhagavad Gita says? It is according to guna and karma that the chatur varnas have been created. So if that is the case, figure out what your personality is and choose your varna according to that. So you don't keep it simple. Any of these questions that are posed, please keep it simple. You don't need to dig your own grave, trying to kind of say this and that and then falling flat. So the rest is what you wish to do in society as per local societal norms, which may be extrapolated from Sanatana Dharma, but not mandatory. So don't even entertain such misleading arguments. Then another myth number four, you are a traitor to your land and Dharma for having left India. You have no right to lecture us about Hinduism. I've seen this as well, subtly said as well. Fact is that Sanatana Dharma is universal. You can live and practice in any corner of the globe. You don't need to necessarily be in India to be said that you are a better Hindu or something like that. In fact, you don't need a loyalty certificate and you don't need a permission to preach it to the rest of the world. Feel free. If you understood Sanatana Dharma well, just feel free. You don't need some guru to tell you that or wait for a guru to give you the permission. If we keep doing that, I think we will we will become a bigger minority in coming times. So be happy that we are sharing the glorious spiritual tradition to the entire humanity. All right, so how do we exercise social responsibility? Now, what is social responsibility and what is responsibility? Let's say if the title was just responsibility of a global Hindu. Responsibility of a global Hindu could be anything, but particularly the title may give you a skewed impression that responsibility of global Hindu would be mainly how do you conduct yourself as a Hindu, and how do you practice your Hindu faith, and how do you propagate it. Social responsibility is you playing a key role in development of the society wherever you are living in. That is the whole point of this segment of the talk that we are going to do right now. Okay, why is it important? It's only when you play a huge role or an important role in the society that you are actually giving a live demonstration of how Sanatana Dharma relates to in day-to-day life. If you are practicing the principles of Sanatana Dharma, you don't need to tell much to others, please practice Sanatana Dharma. They watch, they understand, and then they can follow you. And it's pointless just giving an academic brush to all these concepts saying Sanatana Dharma is it teaches love and compassion towards all human beings, or Sanatana Dharma teaches you to be friendly towards environment. Show it, practice it, and then once it is seen, then it speaks for itself. I'm not saying this. Every practitioner, every scripture that you read, including Bhagavad Gita, talks about application of the knowledge. So jnanam vijnana sahitam. You can't just impart theoretical knowledge alone. It has to be practiced. You have to realize it. You have to realize that it is true. And when you realize it is true, you then declare to the world. And that is why in Hindu Mitra, we have this steps formula, which is understand, practice, and declare Sanatana Dharma. So how do we exercise social responsibility? Now, we can actually offer charitable work, and that is not the only thing. There could be healthcare needs, environment, all this general stuff anyway. And how do they relate? We will see. What is the foundational ideology that helps you to lead a principled life before you start contributing towards betterment of the society? You can actually pick any ideology. You can pick a Christian ideology, you can pick Islamic ideology, you can pick an atheistic ideology, you can pick an environmentalist, Greenpeace ideology. You pick Sanatana Dharma ideology. You demonstrate to the world that this ideology actually it makes a better case for a better world. Okay, you be the champion of Sanatana Dharma. And let us see where we go with that. And what are the principles that apply in social responsibility of a global Hindu? Grihastha Dharma plays the biggest role. Purusharthas, obviously. Samadrishti, the concept of Samadrishti. Varna Dharma. Of course, family has to be strong. Marital life has to be strong before you can actually do anything. I would advocate that the marriage and Grihastha Dharma have to be fundamental requirements before you embark onto any societal sacrifices. In fact, I also say that if you are a Grihastha, don't have this temptation to make sacrifices. Sacrifice is basically compromising on Grihastha responsibilities. That is not good. Keep everyone happy, but at the same time, you need to incorporate some amount of time for societal responsibility. So Saptapadi Vivaha Pramana is nothing but your responsibility to keep the marriage intact, undisturbed, foolproof, that the word divorce doesn't come into existence at all. Okay. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, of course, the concept of Vidya and Avidya, and our Vaijnanika Drishtikonam, which is the Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam. Our ability to do Tarka, follow Satya, and have the ability to debate. And it's all basis of Atma Vidya in all spheres of life. So examples, how do we exercise? So what can we offer? So for instance, when we are doing charitable work, make sure you identify the NGO which is dharmic in its orientation. Okay, and that's very important. A lot of people may just blindly kind of work with or donate to charitable organizations which may be adharmic, by the way. So make sure you identify a dharmic NGO that you work with. Healthcare needs. Healthcare is obviously the Ayurvedic method. I'm an allopathy practitioner. I'm not against allopathy, by the way, and I actually advocate it and I practice it quite clearly with passion. But I also incorporate spirituality into holistic well-being. So I believe that Atma Vidya has a role to play there as well. So make sure if you are actually practicing healthcare, you incorporate your understanding of Sanatana Dharma and especially the concepts of Atma Vidya into holistic care. Environment, when you are actually dealing with environment, you understand that there is the Atma as such has a sarva vyapakatvam. It is there in everything and you are just part of it. You are part of the whole. So you know that and you deal with it accordingly. Family values, as I said, Grahastha Dharma comes into play. In fact, I believe that we need to do a lot of premarital counseling among Hindu couples, Hindu parents who are going to get their children married because their understanding is absolutely zero. They have no understanding. They are just facing a lot of crisis nowadays with the kind of competing kind of spousal responsibilities rather than complementary responsibilities and so on. So there is scope for that. And education sphere, we need to focus a lot on Vidya, the concept of Vidya, and Avidya has a role as in everything else apart from Atman is the relative knowledge. And of course, that is how we a lot of times educate ourselves in the current education systems. But for us to become wholesome personalities, the whole idea of Vidya or Atma Vidya needs to come into play. Employment generation and running a business. Running a business is not against Sanatana Dharma. Making money is not against Sanatana Dharma. There is the whole scope for Varna Dharma to be re-emphasized again. Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra. We are all, according to our own personalities, one among those four. Not by birth, but by personality, we are one among those four. All those four are needed for a society to run well. Take up one, pick up one, be true to it, make it work. That is how society runs. If you are making good money, if you are actually being kind of Brahmanic in your outlook, where Brahma Vidya is your forte, go for it. If you are a leader and so on and so forth, you're a Kshatriya, go for it. Otherwise, the rest of us who are all employed, drawing a salary, skilled artisans, everybody, we are all Shudras. We are all required as part of the society. Okay, don't need to feel shy about any of those things. They have been stigmatized and tainted. You need to, it is your responsibility to make sure that those are understood properly. Then Purusharthas, I just put an entertainment industry here, but it's not only about that. Purusharthas, when we use Dharma, Artha and Kama, aligned with moksha as our goal, then everything falls into place. So you earn in a dharmic fashion. You desire things in a dharmic way, so that you're well aligned with moksha as a goal. So when you do all these things naturally, your societal responsibility or your role in the society works much better. Your role in the family works much better, and your own personal growth, material and spiritual, the balance of it works better for you. So the dharmic principles of social responsibility towards education, for example. So understanding the concept of vidya and avidya include personal development in education. It helps you there. Okay. If you are actually kind of looking after an educational institute in India or abroad, and if you are supposedly a practitioner of Sanatana Dharma, you have no excuse to bring cohesion between your work and your belief. The last thing we want is disconnect between these two. There is absolutely no excuse whatsoever. Always demonstrate your openness to learn along with a logical and scientific temperament. It just comes in naturally when you follow Sanatana Dharma. You don't need to worry about it. Then a follower of Sanatana Dharma is always in search of Satya. And because Atma as such is the only truth, and you are in search of it. And you don't need to shy away with closed thinking. It doesn't, as I explained earlier. So we need to get involved in teaching all humanity beyond their ethnic or national backgrounds. As dharmic knowledge is universal and is applicable in all walks of life, I believe I have been able to demonstrate that earlier. And I spoke to you about health. Ayurvedic principles are holistic. Understand that I am the Atman and I'm immortal, and the body is just a vehicle. So this is how the holistic approach comes into play. But my responsibility is also to take good care of my vehicle, right? If I take good care of my vehicle, my journey is better. And so we need to do it that way. Then we have the antakarana, the buddhi, ahankara, chitta, and all those, right? And of those, Bhagavad Gita clearly said buddhi is the best of, in the hierarchy of all the tools that you are given, buddhi is the one which is foremost. So feed right information to the senses and mind, sharpen buddhi with clarity and decision-making ability. And do yoga. I don't need to teach you all that, you know all this stuff anyway. Then what about family then? So dharmic family, building a strong dharmic family. I would say if you have the means, if you are actually kind of, we are talking about global Hindus, by the way, you may be living in any part of the world, you may be rich, you may be kind of having all, resources, have a large family. There's nothing stopping you. You don't need to just stick to 1 or 2 kids and so on. Just have a large family, because larger families are a lot more ideal in terms of learning, and they work well together. And I'm sure this is not just, I have seen the world, I have gone back and forth in ideas, and I've come to understand that larger families are far superior than families where you only have 1 kid or 2 kids, because they don't know how to share, they don't know responsibilities. They don't understand about sharing or all those aspects. So then purusharthas, as I explained, whatever you do, follow dharmic values without fail, with moksha as the goal. And as I said, dharma, artha, and kama are in alignment with, have to be in alignment with moksha. And then what about social cohesion, society as such? So then grihastha actually has a responsibility for society. And I have come across this beautiful shloka which says, Yatha mataram ashritya jivanti jantavaha tata grihastham ashritya jivanti manavaha. So just as all the kind of calves, stay together, stay near their mother for milk, for nourishment, so do all the people in the society depend on grihastha to take care of the needs. Now, it's not obviously just one grihastha, right? I mean, there are so many grihasthas in the society, so they all have a huge responsibility. So following grihastha dharma automatically means you are having a social responsibility. Be charitable, spare time and money. I mean, if somebody says, I'll spare time but not money, I'm sorry to say you have to spare both. Society doesn't get built just by one, it needs both. And that is why the Varna dharmas come into play. Economy engine has to be, very efficient. The better the economy, robust, the networking, that is how you actually kind of fund better schools, better cultural programs, artisans. We have rich tapestry of various forms of arts, classical art forms, and artwork and all that. We are not looking after them at all. It is our responsibility to spend money and time to do so. Okay, it is. I don't think we need to be, I don't want to be, frankly, as I said, my job is not to be politically correct here. I mean, what are you going to gain by me being politically correct? I don't need to be politically correct. I don't want to be politically correct. If money has to be used, I think it has to be used. That's it. Your grihastha dharma expects you to be available for societal needs and to be charitable. Reach out to the neighbors. Look around who lives in your neighborhood. Visit them. Smile. Look. Greet them during their festivals, your festivals. Again, I'm talking about global Hindus here. Perhaps one thing I need to say here is that very funnily enough, I see a lot of Hindus from abroad sending money to India or worrying about how do we protect dharma in India. That should be less of your concerns compared to how do you actually allow dharma to prevail in your host nation. Because again, I don't need to say this, Sanatana Dharma is universal. It is applicable where you live, in your street, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state, in your country. If you have to kind of spare time for that work there. If you believe dharma is applicable, then show it, demonstrate, teach it in your neighborhood and everybody else in your society. So reach out to neighbors and friends and be an example of practitioner of dharmic principles for all to learn by observing you. I would not advocate theoretical propagation and theoretical preaching. Fair enough. If you wish to do so, and if you're very good at it, do so. But if you, along with, you amalgamate practice of it, that is when it is scientific. And I believe Sanatana Dharma is science, and you don't need to really kind of blow trumpets when you are actually practicing the science of Sanatana Dharma. Our forefathers were charitable and took great care of our society. For instance, the house had a veranda for visitors and even strangers to rest there. And be involved in temple activities. Choose one temple in your neighborhood. We also have this tendency to go to the big temples, even in India, and we neglect the local small temples. I adopt your local temple. Keep going there regularly. Sit there, teach children or adults, talk to them. If people have problems, whether it is an individual or a family, especially if they are vulnerable for religious conversions, it is your responsibility too. You need to start sparing time in your local temple near to you. Pick up a small, peaceful, spiritually charged temple. If you don't want to go somewhere else, you can choose. It is you're free to choose. In olden days, temple was a center of spiritual education, spirituality, education, culture, and social needs. Even today, nowadays, when I go to the villages, the Ramalayams in various villages, and when we see the temples there, some temples still retain this, but a lot of them have lost it even in the villages. And it is our responsibility to make these centers, thriving again. Dharmic responsibilities again towards environment. Be devoted to the environment, worship it and its deities among the native cultures. Let's say if you are in America, Inca, Aztecs, and so on and so forth, understand what their culture is, understand what their native wisdom is. If you're in Australia, understand what the Aboriginal Australians represent, what is their native culture. You'll be surprised that they all have a lot common with what we believe as Hindus. That's because all is Sanatana Dharma. So worship it and its deities among the native cultures that your nation represents. The cosmic truth of universally pervasive consciousness that we are the whole and part of it at the same time. You need to practice that. It is understood. And that all those living and non-living have the same consciousness or the soul. Hence, we are all the same. And that's the Samadrishti principle. We are governed by the karmic law, and that we go through reincarnation cycle of several hundreds or thousands of births. And that is where you could be a tree, you could be an animal, and so on and so forth. That's the knowledge application of it. And this law pertains to not just humans, animals, and trees, but everything that is part of the creation. Whether it is hills, forests, rivers, devatas, including planets, including and other celestial beings. Okay, so we are all part of Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is everyone's own. There is no scope for it to be limited to only a geographical territory or to a culture. It has been practiced by all humanity until advent of human-made religions. The concept of immortality, ancestral worship, living with nature, respecting the local deities, whether it is Grama Devatas or Vana Devatas, has been commonly practiced. Celebrating plurality and rejoicing in the love of oneness of universal consciousness is part of it as well. Always remember, Sanatana Dharma is multidimensional and social responsibility is inherently built in its framework. I'll stop here and I'll see, I noticed that there are some comments in the comments box, but I'll be happy to take questions or anybody wishes to say anything. I'll just read out what is written to begin with. So Sanatana Dharma itself says that whenever required, one has to follow the Vishesha Dharma as per societal or country customs. Samanya Dharma, Nitya, Nimitti Karma, Nimittis Karma, etc. is your choice, subject to the limitations, regulations of the host country. That wherever you are, you can follow Sanatana Dharma, because all human beings are one and the same in any part of the world. As long as your existence is not questioned by host country, you can lead a peaceful life. And these are my observations. Yes, this is pathfinding interaction, useful for NRIs to follow Sanatana Dharma in true spirit, wherever they are. Very categorical. Okay, analysis by Dr. Srinivasa Sastry. Thank you, P.S. Murthy garu. A wonderful message that you have put. Thank you for that. Of course, you went ahead to say one more thing. Adoption of local temple is highly appreciated and is the need of the hour. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Sandhya Garu, as well for your comment. Okay, so let's see where if we can open up for discussion.
Okay, PK Sharma Garu. Please unmute yourself. I think I will unmute you. I think unmuted everybody. 1 minute. Okay. You unmute yourself and then speak. PK Sharma ji.
What I know is many of my relatives say that temples are very well attended in foreign countries by all kinds of Indians, and they are deeply religious and give their children very good background of Hindu culture and practices. Is that true?
Sorry, I don't know whether I can answer that, because those are observations by those people who have mentioned that to you. Which country, where do you live, sir?
USA,
You live
Canada,
you live in the USA.
Bali.
I can't really say much about it, whether they're well attended or not.
What about other countries, the NRIs staying in European countries, for example, do they gravitate to Indian temples in their respective countries and keep the religion going? Also, countries like African countries and Mauritius.
Okay, maybe I'll answer it this way. I think I have come across a lot of people have different satsangs, and they may be part of some yoga practice, meditation practices, attending temples. Sorry, somebody needs to mute here, I think. Yeah. So I think there are different people following different things. I'm not concerned about whether people are able to practice it within their own four walls or going to the temple. As I said, the topic is more of going beyond and being part of the society, and putting Sanatana Dharma to good use. Because ultimately I believe that Sanatana Dharma is universally applicable, and it has value to add to society, not just spiritual growth sitting on our own and pursuing it alone. So there are huge ramifications beyond that. So I say there are four things: Sanatana Dharma and yourself, Sanatana Dharma, yourself and family, Sanatana Dharma, yourself and society, Sanatana Dharma, yourself and environment. So we need to play a role in all these spheres simultaneously, because we are part of it. We are not excluded. And when we are part of it, it is our responsibility to make a wholehearted, sincere effort. So that is the whole idea of today's talk. Therefore, I'm not too concerned whether people are actually visiting temples or practicing within their own four walls. I'm happy that they are doing it. I'm glad that they're doing it. But yeah.
Okay, next, anybody wants to talk? I think Ramesh unmuted, and I muted it because some noise is coming. Ramesh, you want to say anything? Okay. So anybody else wants to say anything? You have to unmute before talking.
Okay. My observation from states, since I come couple of times here, I find the weekends good gatherings are there in temples. And the culture like Karnataka Sangeet and other Sangeet and other Natyam, Bharatanatyam, and learning Telugu language is very much prominent in some places. Very good. Where the At least about 50, around 50 and above people are there in the place. So as far as in the place where I am staying is there, when a concert comes, a Karnataka concert, Annamaya Kirtana, somebody comes, around 200 people I am seeing gathering. So which is not happening in India itself. In a temple, 200 people coming into a normal temple is not happening except the big temples. So that's for a concert like these things. And so this the awareness is there in the people, but still is to be improved. That is one thing I would like to answer. And second thing is that can be done by only the following, by having the belief on Sanatana Dharma, and they are believing. The more day and day they are just coming to that fold. That's what my observation last 20 years. And
Right.
second
Yeah.
thing is generally the whole humanity as such, as Lord Krishna told, is divided into 4 sections, as he says. So that is there in every religion, whether it's Christianity or Muslim or Hinduism or any or Sanatana Dharma, whoever it is, people are same because all the creations are done by one Shakti, one Paramatma. So the basic nature of the individuals is same in everywhere. The basic nature of the individuals in everywhere is same, and in every section of the society, you find that the 42, 18th chapter, 42, 43, and 44 slokas, which tells about natural qualities of Brahmanism and Kshatriyism and Vaishya and Sudra. If you see the whole society, whole world, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, what you are saying, the base qualities are same in everywhere. What is the normal practices of human life depends on the local weather conditions, local developments, and all those things. Based on that, it goes. So having said that, there are certain problems in Sanatana Dharma also, as it told, inclusiveness. The inclusiveness is a bit strong, not good in Sanatana Dharma, in my feeling. We don't just make them comfortable to come to close to us, most of the people. So that is one bottleneck we have in Sanatana Dharma. In other than that, some more are there. So before telling those things, before telling the bottlenecks of our Sanatana Dharma, I would like to emphasize one point. The moment the Islamic religion, which is more prominent, and Christian religion, which are more prominent in the world, when once those two religions remove the bottlenecks they have, I don't think any problems will be there in the society. One is thinking of converting the society is the main reason which they have a belief that unless they convert the society, they cannot get the heaven. Unless they convert the whole society, the Islamic, why the Islamic people are continuously converting the people? Because unless they have a belief, they have a strong belief, unless they convert the whole world into their religion, the Christ will not have second birth. Unless he has the second birth, there will not be heaven for the people who already died. So with this, with all the society. So with that belief, they go on converting. And second thing is, the Islamic religion says the other than people who doesn't follow Allah is a kafir and kill him. This is another extreme thinking. So if these two thinkings are controlled properly, probably the whole society lives more homogeneously and more Sanatana Dharma way only. Because the Sanatana Dharma principles are what? Sanatana Dharma principles are a systematic way of living. That's all. That is Sanatana Dharma principles. Once you start living systematically, you are Sanatana Dharma. And what Sringari Acharya told, how to tackle the problem of this conversions and other things and other attack of other religions on our religion. He told only one thing: follow your dharma. That's all. Once you follow your dharma, everyone follows his dharma, the whole society will be good. That's what he told. It's true also. The problem comes when you go on seeing others, others see and go on thinking of others, others mistakes and not showing your own mistakes. So that way, we have to see that, and that is what is that is the responsibility of the leaders of that religion. They have to see they have to identify the problems of these things at a maximum level, and then propagate that to amend those things, those ideas, and those are to be removed. When once those things are removed, bringing Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is very near. Since all humanities has got the same basic nature. This is my view. And mainly, Sastry Garu, you have given us some list of the words.
Just give
which
me
are
a minute.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, you have given some list of points. I can say jargons. Some words you have used while telling about social responsibility, how to maintain social responsibility. What are the things to be seen into? It's a very good point. That's a very good slide I observe. And I request you to take each subject as a webinar, and that will help the society to the idea of becoming how to be more social in the present circumstances of society. By understanding those words by everybody will help. So let us make those, each word will make a one webinar, and then and see. Please, I find one more thing I would like to. My observation is still it needs a lot of study. I find there are something seem lacking in that list. So please study, give a more thought on those list, and then find out what are the reliable thing, correct principles to be tackled, and each principle, please give a lecture, one or two lectures on that subject, so that people will understand what is that, how to take it as a guide and follow that. So let us work on that. Please prepare the list of webinars on that. Let us work together and record them and keep for the society to understand, propagate them. That is why that's what my submission to you. Please do some homework on that. Some more work. You have done a lot of homework. You have done a lot of great job on this. That's your nature, your career also helps to do that. So please do that further research. Read some more Shastras, mainly Bhagavad Gita, thorough study, much more thorough study make it. And Bhagavatam, as you said, both of the things are very good. Those are sufficient to understand. If Bhagavad Gita is understood by whole society, the world, properly, that the Sanatana Dharma is established all over society.
Definitely,
So,
I'll make all efforts. Thank you for that reminder.
yeah, please.
Yeah, I'll definitely work on that, and I'll be happy to come back and share more on what I have found.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So as far as the assembly is concerned here, regarding the first comment what you made, regarding the interaction business, as you said correctly, people are not more introverts. They don't express that. They fear a lot of things, whether it's correct or not correct, whether you can talk correctly, am I presenting correctly or not. All these things, doubts will come, and how to remove that, I'm still in fix. Last 2 years, 3 years, I'm working on this.
But
And
unfortunately,
I'm not successful to make them come into the discussion platform.
Yeah, I don't think we have an answer, because the entire society is built on not communicating. Schools, children are taught just to kind of parrot information. They are not made to think. So even the next generations are going to be failed generations, in my view. They are not going to be good representatives of Sanatana Dharma. We have a serious problem. And these generations, the generations that we have gone through, and the next generations, unless there is revolutionary change in the way we
No,
look.
he would have done something for that, no? At least something, because it is almost getting touched actually with the tire.
Sorry, are you with us?
Yeah, I muted him. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a serious problem there. I think we need to educate parents how to instill confidence in youngsters, even if schools are failing. Schools are miserably failing. And if schools are failing, can parents actually spare time to instill the confidence in children, have that space where they are talking on tough subjects, allowing children to ask more questions, parents then come, prepared to talk to them. We can establish debating schools. Let's say Veda Samskruti Samiti can actually put competitions, more competitions, debating schools, and we need to make changes. Otherwise, there should be a revolutionary change, not incremental change, because we lose out. I think that should be a sincere effort.
Yeah, with that concept only we started these courses, Sanatana Dharma courses, so that, see, when a person will not open his mouth, when he is not strong enough, when he is not confident enough, what he knows is correct. So when once he knows something, what his ideas are correct, what he has got a basic knowledge on that subject, then he'll open out his mouth. So that is the basic problem people have. What I know is correct or not, they are doubtful. See, out of all, only P.S. Murthy has come out. You mean that other people doesn't know anything? People know, but they don't want to come out and express with the idea whether that is contradicted or no. So many, I don't know what apprehensions they have got.
So can I share something here, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, Srinivasa Sastry garu, you have mentioned that earlier generation, these next generation all will suffer. You just now quoted. But do you find any changes recently, like the previous? Because when I was small, these communication skills and life skills, soft skills programs were not happening actually. But nowadays they are included in academic curriculum. And personally, I teach in colleges and universities and companies also. I incorporate some of the concepts, our dharmic concepts into this one. So,
no, I'm glad to hear that your efforts are fruitful, but we can't just be happy, satisfied with islands of excellence. There should be standardization. This is a government issue. This is a public policy issue. We just need to do a survey of all the schools and higher education institutes. Show me a teacher consistently employing the approach of a Guru Sishya Parampara kind of a situation. If we look at the Gurukula system, where the student had the ability, freedom, and the courage to discuss the deepest of the topics with the Guru, I don't see it. So we are only talking about islands of excellence. Perhaps some of us who are aware of it may be doing it, but we need policy changes that are representative of our nation, that are representative of our cultural kind of heritage, but at the same time be, systematic and scientific in its outlook. That is possible. But we have to become a bigger voice, and that is my view.
One more observation I will tell you on this contest. Most of the schools that are coming in India now, where these things are being taught, the Pradhamik schools, primary schools and middle schools or private schools, who are the teachers? The teachers are half knowledge people. As far as Sanatana Dharma is concerned, zero. Other things are, they're not even graduates, some places. That type of people, they call them and give them 3,000, 4,000 rupees and make them run the schools. With those type of teachers, what do you expect from the students? Except learning what is there in the book. And books are all partial. They are not giving the correct information also, all the books. So the total education system is to be overhauled in the country. That probably that effort is being done now. If that is successfully done and the teachers are honored properly, good teachers are encouraged, so many that BED tests and those tests are not being done. They are not being recruited. Number of teachers are not being recruited. So a number of qualified teachers are not being recruited, not available. So these education systems and the training systems of education teachers, all those to be improved. And basic things such as having the dharmic principles in the subjects is not there. That is another thing is lacuna. So unless this overhauling is done in the country, that being done now, I hope that solution is, it's not a one day, we cannot expect in a day, not even 10 years is not sufficient, what we have done last 10 years. And last 10 years we are working, it's not sufficient. 2-3 decades work is to be done. A damage done over centuries, 10 centuries or 12 or 15 centuries, the damage is be done, cannot be overdone within a decade. It takes 2-3 decades. The thing is, the roots, the seeds are to be properly put. For that, a lot of study is required. People like you who does research on these things. This Arvind Chalpuri, what he is interestingly talking about. So like that, people are who have got interest in doing these things, they should do more and more study and put the things into practice. Make the people know about those things. Not by just writing a book and throwing in the bookshelf. That will not help. We should be more vocal, more meetings, more discussions. These things should happen. Then only the things will improve. And we are in that direction, I hope, because we are running the courses. We are making the people to talk also. We are asking them to talk, to come to the platform. And slowly it is improving. As far as my Sanskrit classes are concerned, the online class in 2020 were mostly above 60s. Now, above 30s, I am finding in the class. So when that comes to above 15 years, people also coming to the classes, then I feel that things have come to a normal phase. So that's how the improvement is happening, but it's not remarkable. So for that, people have to work, and people are working. Not that we are not starting today. Last 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, even 100 years, people are working. But still, anti-forces are very much all these days. That anti-forces are being controlled now. If that anti-forces are controlled, automatically the positive forces will take over and things will happen. So we have to work towards that, keeping the platform clean for the people who want to establish these principles.
Yes, I need to leave now, so maybe
Yeah.
unless people have any final comments to make.
Anybody
Just
would
one
ask to speak?
small, yeah, I would like to talk. Mahodaya, it's Lalita
Please,
here.
please.
Yeah. Pranams Mahodaya, first pronouns to you. Pranams to Malladi, Dr. Malladi Garu. Last session I was there. I could now, as a continuation, I could see where all you gave a connection. It was all a connecting, you have connected many points from the previous session.
Yeah.
There is still one section of slides that I haven't covered today.
Yeah, but still, most of it you tried to. You have kept the questions also in mind and you have answered most of it today through the slides. That was really very, very, very interesting. And it was also educating, I can say. See, from what our Mahodaya was saying, just to add to it, in Veda Samskruti Samiti itself, we have published the book called Sanatana Dharma, written by our Vice President, Dr. Visalakshmi Garu. That book, we have circulated. I'm giving my own example, what we are doing at the field level. Because at the children level, what we can say, the Sanatan Dharma is for the primary school children age, So that we have circulated here, more than 2,000 books we had circulated in, we can say, Tirupati and Chittoor district. Earlier it was, now it's 2 districts. And, we are doing follow-up with those schools also. One is in Tirumala itself, where Mahodaya himself came and distributed. And other schools are in Kalahastri, in Tirupati, and so many other rural, Tirupati rural and urban. And now also he said there are 500 more books. You see whether we can really distribute them. I said, of course we can. And, I consulted Mahesh Degala, Sri Mahesh Degala Garu, who is the secretary of Andhra Pradesh Upadhyaya Samiti. Okay, he is a very active person, I can say, who promotes and preserves our Sanatan Dharma. And, almost, he has so many teachers with him who follow him. So when I told him, sir, there are 500 books available with us. And if you need more also, our president has said that we can print some more. Then he said, if you really take it as a movement, we can just see that I can pump it to all the government schools. That much he said he can do it. And also, we are promoting this through Bala Bharati, Bala Vikas, so many, so many institutions, like Ramakrishna Math and so many, and even National Sanskrit. There are, obviously, Tirupati, it has a lot of such Oriental institutions working here. So they all promoting at the childhood level, the primary school children, they are having special classes for them, at least in the morning or the evening, where, even Vishwa Hindu Parishad, we are doing it, where the children are brought by the parents and they are left for the sessions. That is a positive change that is happening these days. That's what I wanted to bring to your notice, that, somewhere, at least I can say in Tirupati district, though there is a lot of confrontation with Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanas because other religions are also there, but that is going on. We are not much bothered about it. Somebody else is working on it, but we are trying to infuse our Sanatana Dharma at the ground level. That is for the children. Basically, we can say from 5th year to 12 years, 5th to 15 years, the children are being, they are becoming pro Sanatana Dharma. We are making them follow our rituals, practice our day-to-day practices. All this they are doing it.
Lalitaji, as a vice president of VHP, has got a lot of control. You are doing a great service, and much more is to be done. VHP is doing a great service, and we should all support VHP. And
thank you so much for the update, Andy. I think we need to just have, if it is possible, would you be able to hold some meeting so we can strategize this particular aspect, especially when you have a support from Mahesh Garu to spread it across?
Yeah.
If we can actually coordinate it through a meeting, I think we need to have action-oriented kind of.
Yeah, that would be great, because recently they had the elections, and I'll just give you one point which he insisted, and it happened, that all the committee members are Hindus.
Yeah.
Andhra Pradesh Upadhyaya Samiti, all committee members are Hindus. Even the Adhyakshalu is a lady who is a Hindu. That they have insisted.
That'd be great. But I will just add, I'm a psychiatrist by profession. All the things that you have listed, it's great to hear about kids following Sanatana Dharma. But then you went to say they are following rituals and all that. I want to see them think.
Yeah.
I want to see them think, question, dogma can only be challenged.
Mm.
Religious dogma, when it comes to religious conversions, can only be challenged when somebody is able to think and answer. Sanatana Dharma actually is never shy of thinking and questioning and challenging. I think this is where we will actually be able to raise better kids, next generation, who are then good with not only dealing with the Sanatana Dharmic principles, but also become good scientists.
Yes.
And our nation, our culture, for time immemorial, has always seen science and Sanatana Dharma go hand in hand, just like Ardhanarishwara.
Yes. Yeah. So true.
Science and religion being separated and divorced is alien to our concept, our land. So this is how we need to approach teaching children, because we don't want children to lose out on their own kind of a space for learning, education, whichever is required for jobs and whatnot. We'll do that too. So this is where I think we can have a better coordinated kind of an approach, is how I feel. So
Definitely, we'll work on it. And also, sir, we are trying to bring changes at the even in the private schools, saying that we are seeing who is the management, and we are going and knocking at their door and saying that no, you have to see that our Hindu prayers are introduced. If each child should wear a bottu in the morning, when they come to school. Definitely make them tell Ram Ram instead of hello hello. This is not our culture. This kind of changes because of this Ram Prana Pratishtha, which we did widely across the country, and in Tirupati it went very rampantly. We could do it on that day. I can say that almost all the schools, though it wasn't the official holiday, we said that let them all come for the Prana Pratishtha and let them have their prasadam as the lunch, because it is Ram Prasadam. Many schools agreed for it, so we are doing all that. Yeah.
right.
Lataji, what
Okay, sir.
Sastry Garu is told.
Yeah.
Let us have a meeting and see what action can be done through that
Sure,
teacher association.
Yeah, I will very soon. I'll arrange a meeting. No, we'll have a coordination discussion, Mahodaya. Dr. Malladi
So I
Garu,
request all the
yourself,
members
and
before
yeah,
people are leaving.
yeah.
People are leaving. Before they go, I request everybody. What Sastry Garu has told something about the not discussing. This is a bad remark we have.
Sorry,
So
please don't
I
take it
request-
personally. Please
I
don't
request
take it
all the
personally.
members. I request all the members.
It is
to kindly-
across. It is across the
No.
society. It is not just your group.
And I'm not saying I'm telling in a different way.
Yeah.
So what I am saying is, we should speak. People start speaking. Exhibit your ideas. Expose your ideas. Nothing wrong in that. If something wrong is talked also, nothing wrong. We will correct it. We are all one. So please expose yourself and exchange your ideas. Let us know your intellect, what you know. So maybe you must be thinking much more than what we know. You know much more what we know, what people are talking. So maybe you are right. What we are saying may be wrong. So let us exchange and come out with a better things. Please don't just be a silent spectators. Please open your ideas and tell your ideas either in chat box or openly. Don't just hear and go away. And that is one thing. Talking here is one thing. Second thing is, after going, please talk to people. Please promote this. Please convey these ideas to other people. These are the two requests I want to make to the members who attend these things. And one more request I want to make is, whoever receives my message, please pass on further, because I could not pass on to the people. I passed on to 750 people last 2 days. And of that, 100 groups are there. The members came are only 30, 32 have come. 750 means it must have reached at least 7,000 people, minimum. It must have reached 7,000 people. Even then, the strength is only 30 means how much we could percolate into the people, it indicates. So please strengthen my hands by spending your time also to make more and more people come to the discussion platform, and let us exchange ideas. By that, something will come out. It will be helpful to the society. And some new things, some other new activities we can take up with your ideas. Okay. Dhanyawad.
Okay, Sastry garu, I think, has to leave.
Yeah, we'll stop it.
Now, let's have Santi Mantram and Janaganamana.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kacchid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Satyam Vada Dharmanchara Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Dhanavama. Namaskara. Now let us go to the next step. Janaganamana.
Okay. Let us recite Janaganamana.
Yeah, please recite.
Janaganamana Adhinayaka Jaya He
Bharat
Bharat
Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravina Utkal Vanga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Ganga
Ujjvala Jaladhi Taranga Tava
Tava
Subha Name Jage Tava Subha Ashisha Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Gadha Janaganam Ganayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He Jai Hind Jai Hind Jai
Bharat
Shri Ram
Mata
Jai
Ki
Shri Ram
Jai.
Jai Shri Ram
Jai
Jai
Shri
Shri